Yo, what's good YouTube? Zamcro here, aka Scoot, back with the APA Little Cup Tour, round 4. We're in the final 4 and we're taking on the Sydney Sharpedos, coached by Gypsy King. So we're facing off against the greatest draft league format player of all time, undisputedly, or undeniably undisputed. He is the best. And yeah, he's got a scary squad to back himself up as well. He's got Abra, Mudbray, Doduo, Chespin, uh, Bunnery, Muna, the what is it, Croagunk or something like that. The little shell smashing water ground type Pokemon, Stunky, and the little mini Quagsire, excuse me. So yeah, he's got two potential Stealth Rockers and a Spiker, a couple of Defoggers potentially if Doduo gets defogged. And then he has things like Mudbray with the stamina ability, Aber with the magic guard ability so that it doesn't take residual damage, it doesn't take life orb recoil, so on and so forth. The Doduo is really, really nice. It's really fast, it's really strong. It's got dual stab, which is really nice. And outside of something like Onyx or maybe Yamask, I don't really have a solid answer. Maybe Voltorb, but it doesn't really take a frustration or a return or a thrash or anything like that. Chessman could be annoying to deal with, especially since something like Badoo only has Sludge Bomb and can't hit it because of the bulletproof ability. However, I could run Acid Downpour with the Poisonium Z to knock out the Chessman or catch it off guard potentially. And then the Bunnery, it could do a few different things. I think it's I'm pretty sure it's a normal type, singular normal type. And then he's got a secondary Psychic type with Muna. And then Croagunk's got a couple different options. It can go physical, special, Swords Dance, Nasty Plot, Vacuum Wave, Sucker Punch, so on and so forth. And then this little turtle thing, it can do the shell smashing stuff, it can do the Aqua Jet, the Stealth Rocks, like I mentioned, so on and so forth. And then you got the Stunky, which can Memento, Toxic, Pursuit, so on and so forth. Has a really good, I think it's got the ability Aftermath, which is really nice. And then he's got the little mini Quagsire. Basically does what Quagsire does, but I'm pretty sure it's a, well, it may be a ground type too. I'm not real sure actually. Let me take a look. Oh yeah, it's a ground type, so that's pretty neat. And then, yeah, we're not actually going to pull up our squad. We're just going to talk about it a little bit. We've decided to bring Abra, Onyx, Corphish, Meowth, Badoo, and our Mankey. Pretty much the best mons on our squad in terms of statistics so far after the Elite 8. And yeah, Final Four looks to be our biggest test. And if we are able to bypass Gypsy King, we will face the winner of two other guys. I forgot who they are. Anyways, we have a Life Orb Magic Guard Abra here. We are max speed so that we can speed tie with his Abra, potentially his Meowth, so on and so forth. Max special attack for the most damage output, and Life Orb, like I mentioned, for the extra damage output. And then we're sub 3 attacks so that we can't be pursuit trapped by a Stunky, and so that we can bypass something like Sucker Punch on the Croagunk and things like that. Psychic, Shadow Ball, and Hidden Power Grounds. Pretty much the only coverage I need in this matchup. It should be a pretty solid mod. Next up we have Onyx, which is a Stealth Rock variant, obviously. Earthquake, Rock Blast, and Toxic. So we're max speed, max attack with an Adamant nature with a little bit of HP investment. We're a Choice Scarf Onyx so that we could potentially catch Abra or the Duo off guard, potentially the Croagunk or maybe the Stunky off guard, and take him out with the Earthquake or the Rock Blast. If he is a Sash Abra and he leads Abra and I lead Onyx to get my rocks up, I could click Rock Blast, which would not only break his sub and then hit him potentially 1 to 4 times after that, but it could, if he doesn't have substitute on his own Abra, if he's a Sash variant, I could break its Sash with Rock Blast and be able to potentially knock him out. And, next up we've got the Eviolite Corphish, which is the adaptability ability, of course. We are 4 attacks: Waterfall, Aqua Jet, X Scissor, and Hidden Power Psychic. The X Scissor is there for the Chessman. The Hidden Power Psychic is there for the Krogunk. We are max defense with an impish nature. We have quite a bit of speed investment, so that we set at 12 speed, and then 76 EVs in SPDF, and then the rest in HP. Makes this pretty bulky and decently fast. Not that we need speed or anything like that. Just in case though. This thing can take hits from Mudbray, can come in on an Earthquake, and then take the next Earthquake and knock them out with Waterfall into Aqua Jet or something like that. X Scissor is really nice for Muna as well as Chessman, so that's really nice. It also OHKOs Abra in the off chance that maybe Waterfall didn't. But yeah, it's just about it for Corefish. What I need to do for it to do some work is basically pivot with it well. It's not really an offensive monitor. It can maybe clean up like with Aqua Jet or something like that, especially since I have Meowth as well with double priority, as you'll see in a sec, or as you'll hear in a sec, I should say. But yeah, I guess that's about it for Corefish. We can jump into Meowth right now. We have Life Orb Technician, Adamant Max Attack with only 16 speed points. So, you know, we top out at 16. We don't need to be speed time with Abra or anything like that. Fake out into Feint is always the play, or Feint into Feint is always the play, whatever it may be. Double Edge is our hardest hitting attack with Life Orb. It's really, really powerful. And then he's got a couple Pokemon that can potentially take a hit or so. Mudbray and the Rock Turtle. We have Hidden Power Grass for that, and with Technician and Life Orb, it does quite a bit of damage. And we do have, since we're running Adamant with no speed, we're able to run Max Attack with an Adamant nature, and excuse me, not Adamant, but Naughty with a minus SPDF nature, with 196 EVs in special attack, so that we're actually putting some real damage out with Hidden Power Grass versus the two mons I mentioned, and the Quagsire the baby Quagsire. Anyways, next up we've got Badoo, which is an Eviolite variant with Natural Cure. We've got Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, Hidden Power Ground, and Synthesis. I bypassed on the Acid Downpour, and I think since I didn't bring any other Z-Move users, I could have potentially brought Z-Move on this thing. However, it does a pretty decent job at checking Chessman, as long as it's not like I can't really do anything back to it. Had I brought Toxic or something like that, that would have been nice. And same thing for what's it called, the Abra. It can switch in on Giga Drain pretty comfortably, Hidden Power Ground pretty comfortably. Sludge Bomb might be a 2-hit KO, depending, like if he's like no HP or no special investment or anything like that. Yeah, but Badoo's here to take hits. Giga Drain, and then Sludge Bomb's there for the what is Sludge Bomb there for? Oh, the Doduo, and Hidden Power Ground is there for the Stunky and the Krogunk, respectively. Synthesis there for longevity, max SPDF, max defense, and a little bit of HP investment. Not a bad Badoo set, but could have been better had I brought that Z-Move to hit the Chessman, which would have been really, really nice. Next up, we have Mankey, which is our Choice Scarf variant. We'll take a look at it just for a second. U-turn, close combat, reversal, beat up, and Adamant nature, max attack. Enough speed investment to outpace all of his potential Choice Scarf users outside of Abra, I believe. So what beat up does is it takes the Pokemon in your party and does some kind of math, so that basically all of them are gang banging the target. So if he's got Abra in versus my Mankey and he's a Sash variant and I click beat up, I'm going to knock him out through his Sash, which is really cool. It's going to hit like 5 times. And based on my attack stat, which is Corefish, Meowth, Onyx, and Mankey, plus Badoo and Abra, but those 4 hit really, really hard, so beat up is a very powerful attack. And we have reversal there, so that if we get really, really low HP, reversal could straight up clean if Muna and Krogunk are gone. And I think there was one other resist he had, but that's the main thing about it. And yeah, I guess that's about it for the prep talk, and we can go ahead and hop into the replay and see how we do against the King. So here we are with the replay, and the King decides to bring Chessman, Stunky, Abra, Mudbray, Krogunk, and the Muna. Pretty much what we expected, except maybe not the Muna, maybe brought he had quite a bit of other threats, so maybe something over the moon. But yeah, the rest were pretty much expected, and I guess the main thing would be preventing hazard stack from his side. He does have Mudbray with Stealth Rock and Chessman with Spike, as well as getting our hazards up and putting in the work with Abra and Meowth respectively. And Mankey, once things like Krogunk and Muna are beat down, Mankey can go pretty far too. So the general idea behind the plan at Team Preview is to put everything in range with either Abra or Meowth, put everything in range of Mankey. So we're going to lead off with Mankey here. We can U-turn out versus whatever. He leads with a Chessman, so I don't want to give him any information. I hard switch out into Badoo instead of U-turning out, as he sets up a Spike. So this is a little bit unfortunate, and I could set up a Spike here myself, or I could throw off a Sludge Bomb expecting him to switch. However, I do expect him to switch. He has to credit me for potentially having the Poisonium Z Acid Downpour. He can't just stay in and lose Chessman like that. And it's turn 2. There's no way he's going to risk it. He's going to go out into one of his poison types. So I'm going to hit the Hidden Power Ground here. And it does 26%. So it's a 4-hit KO guaranteed. That's not bad. But it bounces off the Muna here as we hard switch out into our Corphish. He clicks the Calm Mind. So that's actually pretty scary. X-Scissor is our best play. It hits the Muna for the most damage, as well as doing damage to his initial switch in, which is most likely going to be Chessman here. And we're going to click X-Scissor again, see what he wants to do. He might set up a Spike, he might go for Recover. Had he set up a Spike there, we would have been able to 2-hit KO him. And he unfortunately, he is able to Synthesis all the way up, and we're going to go out into our Badoo once again, and pretty much we know he's going to switch out because he's got to respect the Poisonium Z. They also don't, like, he has to, or he could lose to it. Well, not lose to it, but he could lose his Chessman to it. So I'm going to double out into my Mankey here, predicting him to switch. As he does switch, and U-turn does a hefty chunk to this Muna, and we're going to go hard out into our Onyx. We're going to throw off a Toxic Fear first because he revealed to be Calm Mind earlier, and now he reveals to be Barrier, and this thing actually gets synchronized. I didn't know that. I didn't look into that, so that's a little bit on my bad. We're going to hard out into Abra here. Just click the Shadow Ball. No reason to make a prediction here. I didn't think so anyway. And what we can do is, as we have our Sash intact, so we can always switch out here, and Pursuit doesn't matter. And had I went for sub there, Pursuit would have just broke my sub, and then he would have knocked us out regardless. So that was the better play, I think. Here we're going to go for Sludge Bomb a couple times, see what he wants to do. He goes for the Moonlight, and Toxic isn't necessarily beating him down just yet, so we're going to hard switch out into our Corphish as he goes for the Shattered Psyche. Not able to knock us out because we are very, very, very bulky. And we're going to go for the Hidden Power Psychic here, expecting the Krogunk. Reason being is because X-Scissor versus Muna, or his initial switch in Chessman, was pretty obvious, so I felt like maybe he might go to the Krogunk, which would resist the Bug type move, and Hidden Power Psychic is actually 4 times effective, and might actually be able to do something to where that Mankey could actually come in late game and put in some work at this point. Because right now, looking at his team, I think if he's got a Choice Scarf user, it's probably going to be Mudbray, similar to my Onyx. He might be like Rocks, 3 attacks or something like that. Anyways, the Moon is basically gone here. We're going to bring in Abra here and just click the Shadow Ball and knock it out. And now he brings in the Stunky. We're going to click the Hidden Power Ground because we switched last time, and I do expect him to Pursuit and not Sucker Punch. And yeah, he's Berry Juice, so it didn't really matter. A little bit unfortunate for us, actually, as he goes hard from his Stunky to his Mudbray, gets a defense boost as well as his Berry Juice popping there. So nothing we're going to be able to do here. We're going to hard switch out into Badoo. We can take the Earthquake, but he sets up his Stealth Rock. So now we're getting a little bit behind, as hazards are starting to pile up and we're not really getting much damage off. And not only that, he was Berry Juice Stunky, and he steals our Eviolite with his Thief, and basically is just beating us down right now. We don't really have counterplay. I think Chespin not being threatened, well, me not being able to break down the Chespin is really, really coming back to bite me in the butt. And there's a few plays where had I maybe made just a little bit different play here or there, I would maybe be in a decent position. However, he's going to be able to knock out my Mankey, or excuse me, my Meowth here. We're going to bring in Mankey and potentially knock this thing out. Just going to click that close combat. He's actually going to keep it around. Maybe it has Vacuum Wave for Onyx or something like that, or even Mankey. So we're just going to go ahead and fire off another close combat. Bring it down to a 2-3 right now. And he brings in his Abra and reveals to be Choice Scarf. I went for the close combat there. It was a roll. Had he not been Choice Scarf, it was a roll to knock him out, which would have been really, really cool. But he is Choice Scarf Abra, so really nice bring on his part. And the King is going to knock us out of the tournament here. He's going to eliminate us with what is it, the Final Four. So he's going to go into the championship after this match. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but I'm sure, like, there's no shame. Like, I know there's no shame in losing to Gypsy. He's a phenomenal battler, but it's always nice to get a W versus great players, especially in a tournament where it's going to be widely recognized and whatnot. But we come up short. It is what it is. It happens. He was the better player in this match. I think he prepped better, and he definitely deserved the win in this one. As you can see, he's got 2 layers of Spikes Up and 3 Pokemon. One pretty much full health, and then Abra. It didn't matter if it was at full health. It was basically at full health, even if it's at 1%, because it was Choice Scarf and it doesn't take residual damage or any kind of damage that isn't direct contact or whatever. Anyways, that's a good game to the man. Good luck in the finals. Let me know what you thought about the prep and the play on both sides of the field. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. All the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.